Yeah, boom to the hay, all you sports fans. Out there, to you, the individuals, part of the collective in the Tebow sphere. Welcome to Fast Track Sports Rack Highlights here, talk radio version of the OMSR. I am your brief but concise host, Will, the alternative ESPN Sports Row. Alright, this episode, the clock's turned back. I'm up like super duper early. Don't necessarily catch these things going on. Not trying to point a finger at anyone here, but happen to catch something that is like from the pages of the file. I can't believe that was caught on film. Now, I've always promoted the OMSR as one of the reasons you may watch. Try to bring you the best vignettes within the 8 to 10 minutes allotted. All the DMCA, the sponsor of this show, Digital Millennium Copyright Act, covers fair use, standard, minimal use, and derivatives. So all the video highlights courtesy to ESPN, and Colin Cowherd, the herd, is who we're talking about. Everything else, the OMSR. But again, the promotional tagline at times where I've used it, it's like, well, we could sort of get away with stuff being said on the OMSR that you wouldn't necessarily hear anywhere else. And then I hear Colin Cowherd going off the way he did. I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't heard about it. But picking on Tebow and Jesus, let's just phrase it like that. I wouldn't even say that. There have been some things I've let slip through on this show, the OMSR. Things I was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe I didn't edit that out. Most of the time I catch them. But I would even hesitate to do that. There's also a little news program that I do on the side, but I sort of gave up after the government shutdown. We'll catch up on stuff, as it happens, develops in the world instead of the same old with the government shutdown. But the point being, some of the other things that might be all-inclusive in the sense of Judaism, Christianity, Islam, you gotta mind your P's and Q's. It's what you say. That's my only point. Okay. Enough of that. You know what's coming up. That's how we roll here. Or how I roll. Haven't had any help this year. Lee, I'm talking to you. So that's coming up, and then middle of the year NFL season reviews as well. Then Monday morning quarterback. And all right, thanks for watching those silly DUIs while you're out there. Roll that clip.
Coming up in the herd. What NFL team's the biggest disappointment of the year?
Roethlisberger throws, intercepted.
Find out from Super Bowl champion Brian Billick via the Subway Fresh Take hotline at 12:15 Eastern, 9:15 Pacific. In the herd.
I said this, the Tebow fans, Alex Smith is 25-5-1 in his last 31 games. He's the winningest NFL quarterback. Winningest NFL quarterback. And I don't hear one person defending him, one, and he's the winningest quarterback, more than Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or Drew Brees in the NFL since 2011. And with Tebow, and by the way, the same things are said about Alex Smith. About Alex Smith is that Alex Smith, well, he's just kind of keeping the seat warm. He's not a big-time franchise quarterback.
He played at the University of Utah.
Oh, my. They came out of the woodwork.
He must be Mormon.
You hate Tebow. No, Tebow had an F arm. You don't have to have a great arm. I don't think Alex Smith has an A arm, but he can make most of
I'll defend Alex. Played at my alma.
The bottom line, let's see if we can get somebody. What did I always say about the Tebow story? What was it really about? What was the Tebow story really about? Jason, what was the Tebow story really about? Welcome in.
Hey, thanks, Colin. Love the show.
Thanks.
Hey, you look at Tebow, and everyone will see him as a cute little Labrador puppy. He's cute. He comes in the league. He still makes some mistakes, but it's okay. He's a puppy.
Why was Tebow so likable? Why?
Because of his off-the-field actions.
No, because he's Christian, and it was religion, not football. It was all about Christianity. What I said, 99% of the Tebow story was God. It wasn't football. And some people, not all, certainly, some people are blinded by faith. The Tebow story was about God. It never was about football, because if you were a football fan, you couldn't watch Tebow and say, oh, this is great. He had the worst arm in the league. I mean, it was about, I relate to him because he has my values. And by the way, in a sports world where there's a lot of creeps and some bad guys, Tebow wore his Christianity on his sleeve. Most guys don't. A lot of athletes are Christian. They don't talk about it. Alex Smith could be. Doesn't talk about it. Tebow advertised it. And a lot of people came in that didn't even like football. And they just clung on to Tebow. And that's why I laugh at this. Is that people are like, oh, Tebow. I mean, it was absurd. It took over our network. He had the worst quarterback rating in the league. Took over our network. Alex Smith's won 25 of 30 games. Nobody defends it. Ever. Nobody. Nobody ever defends it. James, you're in the herd on ESPN Radio. Go ahead.
Yeah, excellent, Colin.
Good.
It's fantastic. Yeah, I just wanted to say that, you know, with Tebow's success rate in college being as successful as he was, and we all know the developmental process coming into the NFL, the combine factor, but he was really just never given that opportune chance because, as you said, he did have an F arm.
He's awful. Yeah. By the way, how come we didn't like Matt Leinart? He was 33-3 in college. How come we didn't like Vince Young? How come? Because those guys didn't tell everybody I'm a Christian. But Matt Leinart was unbelievable in college. And by the way, a better pro quarterback from the physical tools than Tebow. I mean, Matt could make most of the throws. He didn't work very hard, according to people inside the league. But it's really funny. I love this. Literally, Tebow became the most popular quarterback in the league. He was. On ESPN.com, his stories would be the most downloaded with the worst QBR. Why? Ben, you're in the herd on ESPN Radio. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ben. Did my phone not work here? We'll try one more time. I think we lost.
It's probably quit while you're ahead, dude.
Somebody emailed me. Well, that's because Tebow was a leader. Tom Brady's not. Tebow became more popular than Brady in the NFL. Jersey sales, downloads, all the metrics. Well, Brady's not a leader? No, Brady doesn't advertise his religion. Well, Tebow's fan base, it was big in college. So was Matt Leinart's. So was Vince Young's. Tebow literally became the most popular player in the league overnight on a 6-game winning streak. And all these, well, he was a great leader. He was there. So were a lot of guys you didn't love as much. That's why I never bought into the Tebow thing. It wasn't a football story. It was a God story. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing what religion can do. Dennis, you're in the herd on ESPN Radio. Go ahead.
Well, good morning. How you doing?
Good.
Just talking about the Tebow-Alex Smith thing. You know, I followed Alex Smith when he was with the Niners for, the 6 years, and he just couldn't get it done. He didn't have the leadership thing.
Dude, he got to the NFC Championship. What are you talking about?
Well, yeah, but you know what? It's the thing. The players did not respond to Alex Smith.
Well, they got to the NFC Championship. What are you talking about?
Well, they went to the
team,
championship.
as opposed to one dude.
Watch him right now on Kansas City. Yeah, he gets the ball down the field.
They're 9-0.
But Kansas City, I don't know. I don't think Kansas City's going to be.
Again, none of your stuff statistically is true. He's won 25 of 30 games. How in the world can you say people don't respond to him? That's ludicrous. Players clearly respond to Alex Smith. He's won 25 of 30 games. It's, again, fans, well, but it's that leadership. No, it wasn't with Tebow. It was their defense and their kicking game. By the way, that Denver team, you know who they're responding to? Peyton Manning. They're beating the living crud out of everybody. That's who they're responding to. People could never just acknowledge they were blinded by faith and Tebow wasn't a football story. He was a faith story. Oh, Alex Smith, nobody responds to him. He's 25 of his last 30. That sounds like response to me.